Welcome to the Guard Your Heart Show, the podcast that aims to uplift your spirit and guide you on a journey of faith and well-being. My name is Mercy, and I'm excited to have you here with me today. In our last episode, we openly shared about our personal money journey. I am hoping that you gain some practical tips for navigating financial conversations in your own relationships. Let's jump into today's episode where we are going to explore why it is important to find joy in our everyday moments. Modern life can be very challenging because of familial, societal, and economic pressures that are constantly pushing us, and they can be overwhelming. And that's where emotional and mental health comes in. It is the ability to deal with those pressures in a healthy way, and thus maintaining and keeping us healthy and happier. This topic is especially close to our hearts as it touches on the mental wellness and emotional health pillars of our lives. In this episode, we will give a complete breakdown of what mental and emotional health is and why it is so important, and look at examples of how we can improve our own emotional health to live a fuller and more satisfying life. This episode is inspired by Nehemiah chapter 8 verse 10. Nehemiah said, "Go and enjoy choice food and sweet drinks, and send some to those who have nothing prepared. This day is holy to our Lord. Do not grieve, for the joy of the Lord is your strength." So grab your favorite drink, find a comfy spot, and let's embark on this journey together. Mental health as defined by CDC and the WHO goes beyond just the absence of mental illness. There are three key aspects of mental health. They include emotional well-being, and this is the ability to understand and manage one's emotions, cope with stress, and maintain a positive outlook. Number 2 is psychological well-being, and this includes cognitive functions, including the ability to think clearly, solve problems, and make decisions. And the third one is social well-being. Here it creates a conducive environment for healthy relationships, effective communication, and a sense of belonging within a community. It deals with behaviors related to the mind or the brain. There are related problems that develop, typically as a result of chemical imbalance in the brain, and these are associated with mental illnesses, and they include anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, disordered eating, PTSD, and others. And this is a disclaimer. I am not a medical doctor, and the information provided here is for general informational purposes only. It is not intended to be substituted for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you or someone you know is experiencing symptoms of mental illness, I strongly encourage you to seek guidance of a qualified medical professional. Mental health conditions are complex, and an accurate diagnosis or appropriate treatment plan can only be provided by a licensed health provider. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional regarding any questions or concerns you might have about your mental health or medical conditions. Do not disregard professional medical advice or delay seeking it because of the information provided here. If you are in a crisis or experiencing an emergency, please visit the hospital immediately. While it is true that emotional health and mental health are two different things, they are still intertwined. Without mental health treatment, people's emotions can run wild. Focusing purely on emotional health causes mental disorientation that makes it hard to function. Good mental health doesn't mean the absence of challenges or difficulties. Rather, it involves the ability to cope with life's ups and downs, work productively, and contribute to one's community. Emotional health is a crucial part of mental health, and it contributes significantly to our overall well-being. It refers to how a person is able to manage their thoughts, feelings, and emotions through the ups and downs of life, and understanding their impact. Someone with good emotional health and emotional wellness is aware of their emotions and has the strategies to deal with both everyday situation and traumatic experiences, such as losing a loved one, losing a job, or divorce. When faced with challenges, someone with poor emotional health may react negatively, potentially harming relationships and creating a downward spiral. On the other hand, good emotional health allows one to experience and acknowledge feelings without letting them escalate into destructive behaviors. In this episode particularly, I will be focusing more on emotional health. There are 5 essential traits: self-awareness, emotional agility, strong coping skills, living with purpose, and stress management. There are several factors that influence emotional experiences. Your experiences growing up may shape how you respond to emotions. There are also genetics, where biology can play a role in emotional experiences, where you can find personality traits are inherited. And then there's also emotional management, where you can put efforts to manage these emotions, including awareness and identifying triggers, and thus impacting the emotional response. Some of these emotions can reflect on personal experiences. By thinking about how your parents and caregivers expressed their emotions and responded to them, childhood experiences can shape how you deal with emotions today. Why is emotional health important? Emotionally healthy people are typically in control of their thoughts, feelings, and actions, and they can cope with life's challenge and they can bounce back from life's setbacks. Being emotionally healthy doesn't mean that we are never sad or angry or frustrated. Having good emotional health is key to fostering resilience, self-awareness, and overall sense of well-being. Our emotional health plays a role in how we interact with others, including how we take in and respond to feedback and criticisms, how we give guidance, and how we observe and interpret what others around us are doing and why. Having the skills to maintain good emotional health is key if we want to succeed and thrive in our professional and personal lives. For example, as we have all seen in the past 3 years, the world of work is less predictable than we ever imagined, especially in the last 12 months, and it has never been more important to be able to regulate our emotions and be in control of how we respond to challenging situations. We are also bound to face challenges in our personal lives, so our ability to have skills in place to manage both our positive and negative emotions is key. And the following are signs that you're struggling with your emotional health. You are constantly feeling drained. You have sleep disturbances, that is, you either sleep too much or too little. There is decline in your work performance. You're feeling overwhelmed, especially in personal care. You have altered eating habits, that is like eating disorders. You're experiencing increased anxiety or irritability. There's physical symptoms of stress. Also, you are not confident enough and your self-esteem is affected. Frequently have Sunday scaries where you dread going to work on Monday. In order to understand emotions, we have to acknowledge that defining human emotions can be tricky since everyone's experience is different and unique. The key is to be aware of your own experiences, understand its influence, identify triggers, and know how to respond. There are ways that these emotions can actually be felt or seen. And number 1, emotions are felt physically in the body. Being cautious of these sensations can give you more control over your responses. Number 2, you can experience body activation of emotions. Different emotions trigger specific physical reactions. For example, anxiety may cause tension, increased heart rate, and sweaty palms, while excitement can bring a higher heart rate and a light feeling. Then they can also be experienced as a chain of events. There is a sequence from trigger to response, preparing you to react based on the emotion. So understanding this process is very important. Then there is influence on communication. Emotional experiences affect non-verbal communication, like facial expressions and tones, impacting how you react with others. So emotions can be tricky, and it's important to understand in depth how they work. When we understand the mechanisms behind emotions, we are able to manage them more effectively. In a book called Master Your Emotions, the author gives a practical guide to overcome negativity and better manage your feelings. I highly recommend this book because it helps you to understand what emotions are, how they are formed, and most importantly, how to get rid of bad and negative emotions. You also get to learn how to stop being overly reactive to emotions and avoid letting others' emotions control you. There are several key lessons that I have learned from this book. Understand and recognize your emotions to gain control over them. Practice being present in the moment to manage emotional responses effectively. Develop the ability to empathize with others and navigate social situations with emotional awareness. Challenge and change negative thought patterns to promote a more positive mindset. Learn the technique to cope with stress, such as relaxation exercises and mindfulness practices. Set clear and achievable goals to enhance motivation and focus. Cultivate the habits that contribute to emotional well-being, such as regular exercises. Foster a mindset of gratitude to shift focus from negativity to appreciation. Build and maintain positive relationships, recognizing the impact of emotions on interpersonal dynamics. And last but not least, develop resilience and the ability to adapt to change, reducing the impact of unexpected challenges on emotions. Remember, applying these lessons require consistent practice and dedication to personal development. So what does the Bible teach about emotional health? I will tell you two stories of two prophets in the Bible that were going through a difficult time. The first one is the story of Elijah's depression in 1 Kings chapter 19. After a remarkable victory on Mount Carmel, where Elijah demonstrated the power of God of Israel over the prophets of Baal, he faced severe crises. Elijah's triumph on Mount Carmel angered Queen Jezebel, who threatened his life. Elijah fled for safety. He came to a broom bush, sat down under it and prayed that he may die. "I have had enough, Lord," he said. "Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors." In his state of despair, an angel appeared, providing for him food and water, encouraging him to rest. Strengthened by this divine intervention, Elijah continued his journey to Mount Horeb. There he entered a cave, and the Lord spoke to him, asking him why he was there. Elijah poured out his heart, expressing his feelings of isolation and the belief that he was the only faithful servant remaining. God responded not with dramatic displays of power as Mount Carmel, but with a gentle whisper, assuring Elijah that he was not alone. God also revealed that there were many still who remained faithful. This encounter marked the turning point of Elijah. He received new instructions and anointed Elisha, his successor, realizing that his work was not finished. The second story is that of Jeremiah's struggle. This is found in the book of Jeremiah in the Old Testament. Jeremiah is often referred to as the weeping prophet. He faced numerous challenges and hardships during his prophetic ministry. Jeremiah was called by God to deliver a difficult message to the people of Judah, warning them of impending destruction and captivity due to their disobedience. His prophecies were met with resistance, opposition, and personal suffering. The people rejected his words, and he faced persecution from those who did not want to hear this message. In Jeremiah chapter 20, we find Jeremiah reflecting on his inner turmoil. After facing physical abuse and imprisonment for delivering a message that angered the religious leaders, Jeremiah expresses despair. He curses the day of his birth. Jeremiah chapter 20 verse 14 says, "Cursed be the day I was born. May the day my mother bore me not be blessed." Throughout the passages, we can see how Jeremiah struggled with depression. He grapples with the weight of his calling and the rejection of his message and the personal toll it takes on his well-being. Despite of his emotional turmoil, Jeremiah remained faithful to his prophetic mission, continuing to deliver God's message to the people even when it brought him personal suffering. From these two stories of Prophet Elijah and Prophet Jeremiah, we can draw valuable lessons on how to handle mental health challenges. So we need to seek support from our friends, families, or mental health professionals during our tough times. Both of them faced difficult circumstances, but they were not alone. Elijah received support from an angel in the wilderness, and Jeremiah, despite his struggles, he continued to communicate to God. Acknowledging and expressing our feelings is an essential step in dealing with mental health challenges. Jeremiah and Elijah did not hide their emotions, even when it involved talking to God. They openly expressed their despair and frustration to God. We can pray, journal, or talk to somebody you trust, or find healthy outlets for your emotions. Then self-care and rest. Elijah's encounter with the angel in the wilderness highlights the importance of self-care. We need to take time to rest, nourish our bodies, and relax. Then we need to shift our perspectives. God's response to Elijah's despair on Mount Horeb involved shifting in perspective. Sometimes gaining a new outlook on a situation can be transformative. Then finding your purpose and mission. Despite their struggles, both the prophets continued on their mission. And this shows us that having a sense of purpose can be a powerful motivator during mental challenges. You need to define your goals and find the meaning in your action, whether it is personal growth, relationships, or contributing to a cause. Then it is a story of hope and faith. Elijah's and Jeremiah's stories underline the role of faith and hope. Even in moments of despair, maintaining hope in something greater than oneself and holding on to hope for a better future can provide strength and resilience. I cannot emphasize enough. Everyone's journey is unique, and finding the right combination of strategies for your situation may take time. Seeking help and incorporating healthy practices into your routine are crucial steps towards managing and overcoming mental health challenges. Emotional health is a crucial aspect of our overall well-being, just like physical health. It is okay to open up about it, and everyone deals with it. If emotions become overwhelming, focus on the core needs, seek social support, practice mindfulness, and don't hesitate to consult mental health professionals. Managing emotions is part of being human, and developing this skill contributes to healthier relationships with others and yourself. Remember, boosting emotional health involves resilience, stress reduction, quality sleep, strong social connections, mindfulness, and gratitude. As we end this episode, I'd like to pray for our emotional and mental health. Dear God, in this moment, we come before you with an open heart. I acknowledge that at some point in our lives, there are challenges that weigh on our emotions and mental well-being. Grant us the strength to face these difficulties with wisdom and to navigate through them. Help us to release the burdens that weigh us down and find solace in your divine presence. Grant us the courage to seek support from those around us and guide us to the resources and people who can provide assistance during this time. May we be surrounded by love, understanding, and compassion. We ask for clarity in our thoughts and resilience in the face of adversity. Fill us with hopes and remind us that we are not alone in this journey. May your light shine upon our paths, bringing warmth to our souls and illuminating the way to emotional and mental well-being. We place our trust in your infinite love and grace. Amen. Finding joy is a personal and an ongoing process. It involves self-discovery, intentional choices, and a commitment to nature, your emotional and mental health. Remember, 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 7 says, "Give all your worries and cares to God, for He cares about you." If you have enjoyed this conversation, don't just keep it to yourself. Give us a thumbs up, share the love, and hit that subscribe button across all our social media platforms at The Guard Your Heart Show. Remember to tune in on 1st, 10th, and 20th of every month for fresh episodes. Remember to guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. See you on the next episode. Bye-bye.